Morning, we're asking you on social media, what was the biggest story for you this week that probably stood out for you? Would love to hear from you. Make sure you tweet us at KTN News, at @Zinzi_K, and at Kate, and hashtag is the hashtag to use, this KTN Morning Express. So we want to jump into a weekend review, hence why we were asking you this morning what story stood out for you. And Susan Selantoy is still here with me, former running mate, or rather former candidate for Senator of Nairobi last year, and joining us now is Elliot Mudhira, former former presidential running mate alongside Dr. Kavinga last year. It's so good to have you here. It's been a while.
I'm glad that you extended this opportunity to me. I had to be here. I was involved in a situation this morning. I'm cycling, trying to get Kenyans to be conscious about taking charge.
Wow.
We have a traffic situation in Nairobi, especially. So sometimes when you cycle, number one, you get healthy and you get there on time. And then number two, 8,044 cases were filed in the fight against corruption in the last financial year. So we are cycling around Kenya for every case that was filed. That's a kilometer. So we are covering 8,044 kilometers.
That's why Elliot Mudhira is cycling in Nairobi.
And this morning I was trying to get here on that mode of transport, and somehow...
But with the rains and the floods?
The rains are good. They ensure that we have food, but again, I'm not made of mud or clay, or I'm not salt that I'll dissolve.
Isn't that not making cycling harder?
It does, but the benefits outweigh the cost.
All right. Okay. So speaking of floods, Susan earlier was very passionate when I asked her what were the biggest topics, or the biggest thing that stood out for her this week, and she mentioned the floods. And this is the thing, second term has just started, or should I say now it will have to be postponed because of these floods. Susan, I want you to jump in because you were very quite passionate about it before we went on the break. Your thoughts in regards to that, because also Susan had mentioned that as a country we're not prepared. Yeah.
So, in terms of the school calendar, it's just sad. I think sometimes we act as though we don't know what is happening. We don't know what is going to come, and we sit there oblivious of everything that is going to happen in the future. And then when it comes, we act surprised, like, oh my God, there are floods. But we knew people were cutting down trees. We knew that this was going to have consequences. People were being allowed into forest reserves. We knew that this was going to have consequences. So at this point, it is great that we postpone some things, like we can postpone the school calendar for the safety of the children, for the safety of the kids.
You saw what happened?
Yes, in Nakuru with the latrine. Yeah, it has a negative impact on the kids. Postponing their school calendar, but we need them alive.
And the thing is, she says because of safety. Here in Kenya, our rescue and evacuation team is not at strength. It's not as power. Would you not say so, Mudhira? Our response units?
I totally agree. And it's about preparedness. You look at some of the places that have been marooned by floods. People have been evacuated, but we have nowhere to take them. So we are taking them from one calamity and getting them into another. Red Cross has already raised red flags that we are going to have diseases, cholera, and all these other sanitation-related diseases. It's a time that we need to do things properly. The meteorological department this time got it right. They said we will have severe rains and they'll be accompanied by floods. And nobody listened.
And the thing is also, as Kenyans, it's where we also build our infrastructure. Mother Nature, even though you build an entire road or you build houses, Mother Nature is Mother Nature. You cannot bribe Mother Nature. When it rains, it rains.
Yeah. Actually, you've talked about infrastructure, and I don't know if you've looked at the roads around the city. Like, most of the roads have potholes and they're completely damaged because of the rains. And then it puts into question, what quality of roads are we building? What quality of infrastructure are we putting up that it can be destroyed by rains? Aren't we supposed to invest in all-weather infrastructure that we won't keep building? Does it mean that every time it rains, we will keep recarpeting the roads and then we use more money to do this? Why can't we do it just once and be over and done with?
Right.
So proper investing into the infrastructure would also be good for us.
Let's just jump straight into the State of the Nation in regards to unity. That handshake, or rather the apology by President Uhuru Kenyatta, and of course we also saw one from his deputy. Mudhira, what do you think that apology means for Kenyans?
Well, it was a humbling lesson for me, and actually Uhuru Kenyatta is right now my mentor when it comes to magnanimous leadership, that even with all the power and authority, you can get down to the level where you ask for forgiveness for everything that you even imagine you could have done. Now, it's good for Kenya, and one thing we need to do as citizens is to embrace the spirit that came with this handshake.
Critics are saying that this handshake is just a way of blackmailing or of silencing things that happened last year, because a handshake or an apology is not going to bring back Baby Penda and the other people that we lost last year.
Which is partly true, but we have to start somewhere. And what the handshake does is it opens the door for us to address all these other matters.
And justice.
Yes. Now, what people are not exactly talking about is we've had problems since 1987. In 1992, election-related violence affected Kenyans. In 2007, we saw the same. In 2013, it was a bit subtle, but then right now, we just want to focus on the 37 lives that were lost instead of saying we have a big problem, and this handshake opens the door for us to have this dialogue.
Susan, your thoughts on the apology vis-a-vis justice?
Okay, I'm happy that the president was able to apologize for whatever he said that may have offended people. It's a good step that he was able to take. I, however, wished he would have apologized also for a few more things, for police brutality, for Cambridge Analytica actually, for stealing our data. By consent of his own campaign.
And loss of property
and
for
loss
people
of property
last
for
year.
people. So I think, yes, it's good that he apologized. Yes, it's a step. Would he have apologized for more things? Absolutely. And I think more people would have probably, people who are like extremely on the NASA side would have probably warmed up to him a bit more if he only recognized the issues that they were facing at the time, and that was police brutality. So in fact, in addition to that, he actually praised the police force for a good job done. So it's neither here nor there for me. I think it's a step. It is a good step, but I feel like it should have been a lot more and encompassed a lot more things that other people are actually facing.
Zinzi, let's look on the other side. Uhuru was on one side of the handshake. There is the other leader on the other side. He has not come forth to also offer an apology, and yet we all know the role he played, because he also played a part in the chaos that we had.
It takes two to tango.
Yes, so let's not be pessimistic. This is a move in the right direction. What needs to follow swiftly is action. We need justice, because without that, we cannot move forward.
But how do you have justice for something that is not even pronounced as... I mean, how do you have justice for something that is not recognized? In fact, yes, Raila also owes us an apology as Kenyans for the part he took us through. But I feel like the president has a greater responsibility here, because he is the president and he is the one who is in office. So it's great. It's good that he started in the right direction, but I feel like if we can address more issues, then we'll probably do better.
All right, so Labour courts decided to rule in favor of Sossion, KNUT Secretary General, saying that he should not step down. And we saw him yesterday saying that he will not step down until 2021 when his term comes to an end. However, his petition hearing will be on May 10th. In regards to that, on top of that, Sossion also holds, he's not only the Secretary General of KNUT, but he also holds another public office which is against the Union Constitution, and that office is the ODM nominated Member of Parliament. Mudhira, what are your thoughts in regards to this drama that we're seeing inside KNUT? Should Sossion resign?
This is a habit that Kenyans are starting to embrace, where we don't play according to the rules that are set. We know that for you to be a union official, according to what I have read, you need to be on TSC's list that you're registered as a teacher. Sossion was deregistered at some point, and by that virtue, it means he does not qualify to be a union official. But because we have this habit of not playing according to the rules, we always run to the courts and get an injunction. And I'm glad in the State of the Nation address, the president mentioned something about our judiciary trying to do better than they have done before.
Right.
That people will go to court, get an injunction, and stop a very noble project from taking place, which is what Sossion did. Now, we must desist from such habits.
Susan, your thoughts on KNUT and Sossion? Do you think it's politically instigated? Should he step down?
If the law says he steps down, I think he should. But I think the thing that we're doing here is now putting the judiciary into question. It is an independent institution, and why they're giving these injunctions is best known to them as an independent institution, and therefore we should let them function as an independent institution. I'm not saying that they're not, they should not be criticized, but I think the independence should actually be left to them.
All right.
So Sossion, if it is against the law for him to be there, then he should resign.
But because of time, can you quickly say your point?
Yes, Atwoli mentioned something about if we don't change the constitution, our president is too young. Atasumbua watu 2022. He should talk to Sossion. Sossion is his friend. Amwambie ache kusumbua watu.
That is where we're going to leave it at that fantastic point. I can tell Susan had a comment on regards to that, but we're going to hold on to that. Both Susan and Elliot Mudhira helping us go across the week in review. We want to leave you with traffic along Kenyatta Avenue so you can have an idea of how it is performing right now. That is that right now. Those are live images from Kenyatta Avenue. That is traffic right now as we speak within Nairobi CBD. We're going to leave you with those images, but when we come back, Morning Express still has a lot for you. Stay with us.